Stop chasing your children's approval. Many parents, especially as they grow older, often unconsciously fall into a trap, doing everything they can to be loved and recognized by their children. They give in, sacrifice, and put their children's needs before their own, thinking that the more effort they make, the more their children will appreciate them. But sadly, it often leads to the opposite. When you try too hard to please, your children begin to take your kindness for granted. They may not intentionally disrespect you, but because you're always ready to sacrifice and yield, they gradually assume your feelings and needs don't matter. Over time, you lose your voice and your central role in the family. Respect doesn't come from how much you give. It starts with self-respect. When you always say yes despite wanting to say no, or stay silent to keep the peace instead of expressing your thoughts, you erase your own boundaries. And once those boundaries are blurred, others, including your children, will easily overlook you. To regain your children's respect, you must start by stopping. Stop seeking approval. Stop doing everything just to be liked. Instead, learn to say no when necessary. Express your views calmly and clearly. Set limits on how others are allowed to treat you. When you respect yourself, your children will begin to see you differently. The steadiness, confidence, and firmness in your way of living will make them take notice. And from there, respect won't need to be demanded. It will return naturally. Don't argue, be the example. When children behave disrespectfully, talking back, ignoring your opinions, or even speaking condescendingly, many parents instinctively respond with arguments. They want to remind their children of past sacrifices, demand fairness, or prove they deserve to be heard. But in reality, arguing rarely brings respect. It often just deepens the emotional divide. Think back. Have you ever changed your view of someone just because they shouted or argued with you? Probably not. Respect isn't earned through loud voices or sharp words. It comes from composure, presence, and how you carry yourself. If your children aren't listening, don't try to outshout them. Become the person they want to listen to, not because they have to, but because they're drawn to your calm authority. Live with firmness, speak with confidence, act with calm strength. When you don't get swept into chaos, you affirm your value without needing to explain it. Keeping your composure in the face of disrespect isn't weakness. It's true strength. It shows you're not controlled by momentary emotions, and you don't need to shout to prove your worth. Remember, your children might not always obey your words, but they're always watching how you live, how you remain calm when provoked, how you respond to unfairness, how you manage pain. These are the most powerful lessons. If you want your children to respect you, teach them through how you live, not through heated words. Actions always speak louder, and a person who lives with integrity, dignity, and calm strength will, sooner or later, earn the respect of others. Emotional independence. Don't rely on your children to feel valuable. As parents, we love our children unconditionally, but sometimes that love comes with an unspoken expectation that our children will care for us, understand us, and spend time with us just as we once sacrificed for them. When they don't call often, don't share their lives, or seem distant, many parents start to feel hurt, disappointed, or even invisible. However, relying on your children to feel valuable is an emotional trap. It not only leaves you vulnerable to pain, but it also unintentionally places pressure on your children. When they feel like they must make you happy, loved, or seen, the relationship turns into a burden rather than a natural connection. On the other hand, when you become emotionally independent, meaning your happiness doesn't depend entirely on others' actions, you become stronger, more attractive, and more respected in your children's eyes. A confident, joyful person with a fulfilling life and the ability to enjoy the moment will always earn admiration and be someone others want to be around. Learn to fill your life with things that bring you happiness. Whether it's reading, walking, meeting friends, learning something new, or simply enjoying peace and quiet, joy doesn't come from your children. It comes from within. And something beautiful happens. When you're no longer waiting for a call, you'll unexpectedly receive one. When you no longer need attention to feel worthy, your children will begin to reach out, not out of duty but out of genuine love. Emotional independence doesn't mean being cold. It means you're strong enough to be happy without needing someone else to provide it for you. Set clear boundaries. Love doesn't mean accepting all behavior. As parents, we all want our children to be happy. Many choose to endure, sacrifice, and even accept disrespect just to keep the peace at home. But the truth is, if you don't set boundaries, your children won't automatically know where they are. Love does not exclude respect. You can love your children deeply and still have the right to say no when treated unfairly. When you stay silent in the face of hurtful words, accept being ignored, or let your emotions be constantly manipulated by your children, you're not preserving the relationship. You're losing yourself. Remember, people, including your children, will treat you the way you allow them to. If you allow yourself to be dismissed, they'll get used to it. But when you establish clear boundaries, you teach others how to respect you in a healthy way. Setting boundaries doesn't mean creating conflict or distance. It means calmly and clearly communicating what is and isn't acceptable. For example, you may disagree with my opinion, but I expect you to speak to me with respect. Or, if you behave like that, I won't continue this conversation. At first, your children might react negatively or feel upset. But if you stay consistent, they will gradually understand that you're no longer as easy to push around. And when they see that you protect your own well-being, they will, consciously or unconsciously, start to adjust their behavior. Believe this: boundaries don't take love away. They make it healthier and more sustainable. When you respect yourself, your children learn how to respect you, and how to respect themselves. Stop giving when you're not appreciated. Sacrifice has no value if it's taken for granted. As parents, giving feels instinctive. We're willing to sacrifice our time, money, energy, even our personal dreams, to provide the best for our children. But sadly, many parents give unconditionally without receiving the appreciation they deserve. Worse still, these sacrifices gradually become something the children assume as normal. When you constantly give, help, and meet every request without acknowledgement or gratitude, you're not building connection. You're creating dependency and entitlement. Over time, your children stop seeing the value in your efforts. They don't say thank you, not because they don't know how, but because they've grown too used to it. That's when you need to stop. Not because you don't love your children, but because you respect yourself. Kindness only has meaning when the receiver values it. If you keep giving in silence, you're sending the message: Mom and Dad will always be here, whether you care or not. Learn to say no calmly and clearly. I can't help with that right now, I have my own plans. Or, I'm happy to support you when you genuinely need it and appreciate it. You don't have to be harsh or cold, just firm and honest. When you stop giving unconditionally, your children will begin to realize that your support isn't guaranteed. And when they start to appreciate it, your words, actions, and time will regain their true value. Build a life of your own. When you live fully, your children will see you differently. Many parents, especially after retirement or when their children have grown, often fall into a sense of emptiness. They feel lost, unsure what to do besides waiting for a call, a visit, or a hug from their children. Their joy and sense of purpose come from their children's presence, and when that's no longer frequent, they feel forgotten. But here's the truth: if you make your children the center of your life, you unintentionally put pressure on them, and you lose yourself. A healthy parent-child relationship cannot grow if it's built on emotional dependency. When your children sense that you have no life of your own, they may feel guilty, uncomfortable, or even start to avoid you. Instead, create a rich life for yourself. Learn something new. Join a club, travel, read books, volunteer, play sports, take care of your health, make new friends. Live as an individual, not just as someone's mom or someone's dad. When you do this, something magical happens. Your children will start seeing you in a new light, with admiration. They'll want to hear about your experiences, your plans, your passions. They won't feel like they have to fill the void, but instead, they'll want to connect with someone who's living fully and meaningfully. You don't need to live far from your children to be respected, but you do need to show that your life is worth living, for yourself, not just for someone else. And that kind of independence, quiet, strong, without blame or complaint, is what makes your children love and respect you more than ever.